Hey folks, it is Thursday, September 17th, and this is your daily gender forecast. So, task one. The first thing that I want you to do is take a moment to reflect on your own experiences where you have attempted to get yourself off the hook. All of us have been there. All of us have done this, all right? So, take a moment to do that, right? Understanding that all of us mess up, it's the human condition. Then I want you to learn some strategies for getting back on the hook as a trans ally, or if you are trans, learning how to get yourself back on the hook when we're talking about a marginalized positionality that you don't occupy, right? Learning how to put yourself back on the hook, right? To have accountability, right? So to get you at that, I want you to actually watch Francesca Ramsey's video, Getting Called Out, How to Apologize, where she offers a very good example of how to get yourself back on the hook when someone calls you out, okay? Once you have reflected on your own attempts to get yourself off the hook, and once you have seen an example of how to get yourself back on the hook, I want you to head over to Trans 101 Channel 4 and compose a 4 to 5 sentence comment in which you reflect on your biggest takeaways from this exercise in task one. In task two, I actually want you to learn how to recognize and respond to translash. So the first thing that I want you to do is to watch another video, Fran Ramsey and Kat Black, who came together to record this video, 8 comebacks for transphobic relatives over the holidays. So watch that. They do a pretty good job of explaining how to respond to transphobic comments, but there's actually a bit more that's at play here. So I want you also to learn about this phenomenon that is called DARVO, D-A-R-V-O. So I want you to read Ellen Scott's piece on what DARVO is, how it functions as gaslighting, right? Because that's going to help us. All right. So once you have watched that video and once you have read the DARVO piece, what we're going to do is we're going to practice learning how to identify when folks try to get off the hook and when folks are engaging in DARVO tactics, right? So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to read, we're using J.K. Rowling as an example. We are not going to read this whole horrible blog that she posted because good grief. But I do want you to read this CBS reporting, which quotes her blog at length. So just go ahead, read this reporting on J.K. Rowling's latest attempt to get herself off the hook and to employ DARVO tactics. Then I want you to head over to this Google document right here, in which I've actually pasted the report that you read, right, into a Google Doc. And I want you, as you're reading it again, to participate in 3 different ways, all right? So the first thing that I am going to ask you to do is I want you to, at least just one time in the article, I want you to highlight and then comment on one example when you're looking at J.K. Rowling's writing where she's either trying to get off the hook or to employ DARVO tactics. And all I want you to do is say, hey, I've identified this right here. This is her trying to say I'm one of the good ones or whatever, right? And then once you've done that, you're done with that particular thing that I want you to do. Just keep on. So you'll say, okay, this is her trying to say I'm one of the good ones, and you'll explain what that means from the Johnson reading. And then you go on your merry way. The next thing that I want you to do is look at another peer's comment where they have already identified and defined an example of Rowling trying to get off the hook or participate in DARVO. And I want you to explain how in the comments that particular passage is functioning as trying to get off the hook, right? Or is functioning as DARVO. So how, right? And you're just going to respond in the comments. The last thing that I want you to do is I want you to go to another one of your peers' comments. I want you to read how they've identified and defined the tactic they think is happening and how another peer sees how it's functioning. And then I want you to also in the comments analyze why this particular attempt to get off the hook or to practice Darbo is so problematic and harmful for trans people. Okay? So if this is done well, I think it should take us the remaining class time to do that. If you would like to do this last exercise on Zoom, you are more than welcome to join me on Zoom, and you can participate this exercise and just kind of chat with each other as you do that. Okay, but that's optional. You don't have to. And then for homework, well, there is no homework. I just want you to actually take a breather and think about your biggest takeaways from the Trans 101 unit. And just let it percolate over the weekend, because on Tuesday, I'm going to ask you to sort of blog your reflection of, what your biggest takeaways were from this Trans 101 unit. But again, you don't have any homework. Just think about the things you've learned. All right, cool. So let's have a good day in class.